Next up at UFC Vegas 79, we have Jacob Malkoun taking on Cody Brundage. Jacob Malkoun 7-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that wrestle heavy win over Nick Maximov. He's taking on Cody Brundage, 8-5 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is riding a 3-fight skid and fighting for his job. Jacob Malkoun is a grappler. He's going to plot forward. He's going to throw everything. He does throw with power. I've mentioned this many, many times. He doesn't even throw anything straight. Everything's looping. His jab is looping. His looping shots are looping. No straight punches. He comes in looping and then immediately starts just shooting wrestling takedowns, trying to get it done. His wrestling takedowns are nice. I appreciate them. He actually lowers his level, shoots takedowns, gets to the legs, runs right through them.
Oh, the way that he cuts those corners is. By the way, on the stream, you would have been proud of me. Because I don't think you watched the stream, but one of Chevy's takedowns, I was like, oh man, she cut that corner really well. Because Alexa was like almost out of it, and she fucking turned that corner, and then immediately Cruz was fucking, before DC could say anything, Cruz all over it. He's like, oh my god, the way she cut that corner.
Well, we'll talk about that in the main event because Henry Cejudo did a whole thing, just literally drawing circles around Gamrot and how amazing he is at running in circles. But we'll talk about that later. But anyway, Jacob Malkoun shoots very real takedowns, lowers his level, blasts the legs, tries to work right through them. His shots are pretty clean. They're right in the middle of the cage, and it all works for him. He's averaging more than 7 takedowns per fight. He's coming off that win over Nick Maximov, who was also, I believe, a Division I wrestler or something to that effect. And his takedowns were relentless. His chin was a little suspect, but his takedowns were relentless in that fight. He's taking on Cody Brundage. This guy's a heavy-handed, kill or be killed wrestler. He has no problem coming forward, throwing heavy, working in that wrestling. He does have a pretty high level wrestling background himself, and he brings that into the cage. He's averaging 3 takedowns per fight, but even dominant wrestling performances cannot keep him safe. He's coming off that ridiculous loss to SD Dumas where it was clear he could dominate. He started by dominating and then just started pulling guillotine and just horrible decision after horrible decision.
Wasn't that I'm starting to remember
short
now.
Notice.
I know, but wasn't that like a card that like was weirdly like early in the morning too, or something like that?
It was
Like
Jacksonville.
yeah, so I think it was the first. I think it was like 10 a.m. or something like that, because it looked like he was not even fucking awake for that fight.
Well, the first minute he looked like that was it. Yeah, there we go. He's gonna destroy this guy. Blah blah blah. And then he just started pulling guard. All of a sudden, SD Dumas looked like he knew how to wrestle. So, I mean, Josh Frem smoked that dude. And then Cody Brundage struggled with him. But what makes Cody Brundage so tricky is he's so talented. He's riding a 3-fight skid, but he has looked good in every single one of those fights before they went the other way. He dominated Mikhail Olenjaychuk early with the wrestling. He almost had Rodolfo out on his feet, and he was dominating SD Dumas. And then he just starts to make these poor decisions, and it's like, I don't know if he just gets too excited. I don't know what happens. The Rodolfo Vieira one is insane. He pulled guillotine there too after almost knocking that dude clean out. It's crazy. It is crazy. And because of the poor decision making, I have to pick Jacob Malkoun. Minus 450 seems absurd for a guy that's a bit chinny. Cody Brundage hits like a freight train. Cody Brundage was a very good high-level wrestler. This could be the biggest upset of the card. Absolutely. But I'm still going to go with Jacob Malkoun because I trust him to just relentlessly keep shooting takedowns, and I can't trust Cody to make the right decisions. But Cody's the more talented fighter in this matchup. He just makes terrible decisions and gasses pretty quickly. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, your hatred for Jacobs must run pretty fucking deep, because I think he probably has no issues in this fight. I mean, he's the better wrestler. He's a better grappler. That's what this fight's going to simply come down to. Cody Brundage, as you mentioned, in his last fight, looked flat. I have to imagine that had something to do with like fighting in the morning or something.
It was short notice, too.
There was no fight in that dude. I mean, there was no fight in that dude late in that fight, or I mean, starting even like in the second round of that fight. Once he started losing, it was like, oh man, I'm fucking done. And there was no fight. I mean, it was not a good look. But yeah, Jacob Malkoun should be the better wrestler, but that is the one thing that does to keep in the back of your mind is the fact that he can get knocked out. And as you mentioned, Cody does hit hard, but I don't think he's going to have any issues. Quick breakdown. Jacob wins. We don't lose.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I do have Jake. I mentioned I have these like little parlays. I do have, excuse me, what I'm calling the sloppy favorites parlay. I have Tamires Vidal and Jacob Malkoun in that. Because they both should win, but I can, you just never know. I trust them less than some of these other parlays that I've got going. $9,500 in DraftKings. If you think Jacob Malkoun wins, he should be worth it. Because even if this is a decision somehow, I mean, that guy just absolutely is going to put some real numbers on the board with the wrestling, with the grappling. I do also have a round prop parlay. The over 1.5 on this fight is in that, because if you think Jacob wins, that is who I think wins, I think this will go over 1.5 rounds. I think this may look like that SD Dumas fight with Jacob winning the grappling exchanges, Cody just making some poor decisions, and it's going to go a little longer. Jacob's not the most dangerous guy in the world, but he is a relentless wrestler, and I think that's what this is going to look like. So we're both on the same side. You're a little more confident than I am. Are you going to spend the $9,500 in DraftKings Fantasy?
The one thing I will mention for DraftKings is if you pick Jacob in DraftKings, you probably want a good Cody Brundage to show up, because Jacob will still out-wrestle him, but he'll get more takedowns because Cody is good enough to get back to his feet from time to time. But if he shows up and just lays flat on his back, you're not going to score as much, because Jacob's not a super dangerous guy in submissions or anything. It's a lot of just control. So he might either get one takedown for each round, and he's only going to score, 70, 80 points, something like that. Or if Cody shows up, he could get 4 or 5 takedowns a round, and all of a sudden he's like an optimal lineup type guy. So it's kind of a weird situation to play. I don't know.
I think he'll get. I mean, if the guy averages 7 takedowns per fight, that happens because he has terrible control. So other people are getting up. Hopefully Cody can too. But I agree with you.
And if you're going to have chest hair, that's the way to do it.
Just fuck it. Leave it out.
I mean, that's like a little bit more extreme than Roman Dolidze's, but that's one like, I mean, tell me you wouldn't mind falling asleep on that chest, to be honest with you.
It's just so wild. Like his haircut, his beard, it's all like perfectly trimmed. And then like neck down, he's like, whatever. Whatever it is, it is.
Great hairline too, man. He's got that Paul George hairline.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Paul George, I mean, his hairline.
Right. Do anything you want with it. Eyebrows up. Anyway, Jakey and I both on the same side. I guess I have 2 bets here. I got Malkoun in a parlay, and then I have the over 1.5 round line in a parlay as well. But if you want to see all the bets, including Jacob's, the Artem's, and Running Mouth MMA's, there's 3 of them. So you have 5 people's worth of bets to look at, learn from, analyze, and then the data and everything else. WeWantPicks.com. Just click become a member. It's only $10 a month. $5 super chat from Jeffrey Platitz. If you are watching this and don't have premium but bet every week, how many $10 bets are you going to lose before joining premium? Quit being a damn cheapskate. Thank you, Jeffrey. Nothing makes me happier than a super chat that promotes premium. Very, very genuinely appreciated.